Now let's go into the ENOVA microlight. There are really two kinds of ENOVAs. There are the OG ENOVAs, which are discontinued, and there are the new gen ENOVAs, also called the Night Eyes. This is the OG ENOVA, which has a black body. And then this is a new gen ENOVA, which has a green body. Most people use the OG ENOVAs because those have the functions that we want to impact. And they really have three modes. The first is the mode 1, which is a solid light. The second mode has a gap in it, and so it has a nice little trail effect. And then the third mode is the blink, and that is the strobe. It also has a 3-second timer, where if you click the light on and you wait for 3 seconds, when you click it again, it'll turn off. But if you click it before that 3-second timer is up, it'll go to the next mode. The old generation ENOVAs also have what's called a hold function. And so if you click it and then you click and hold within that 3-second window, when you let it go, it goes to the next mode. Now the new gen ENOVAs, these are the Night Eyes. These ones have a green body. And you could find these in stores everywhere. These ones, the first mode, is not really a solid. It has a little bit of a gap in it. And so it causes like a trail effect. The second mode is also very similar to the first one, where it creates this kind of trail effect. And then the third mode is the same blinky strobe. And these are called M1, M2, and M3. Mode 1, Mode 2, Mode 3. The new gen ENOVAs, they do have a 3-second timer. So if you wait 3 seconds, it'll turn off. But if you click it within the 3 seconds, it goes to the next mode. The new gen ENOVAs, however, do not have a hold function. So if you try clicking it and holding it, nothing happens. Now, the OG ENOVAs are discontinued, so they are very expensive. These run for like $30 to $50 each, and that can add up when you need 2 of them. I know that can get very expensive for a lot of people. However, there is a way to actually turn a new gen ENOVA into an old gen one, and this is called rebooting. The reboots go from around $25 to $30 each, and you could buy them off people in the community, or you could actually make them yourself. And all the information is free in the Impact Asylum Facebook group. It does require quite a bit of tools. So if you are a more DIY person that likes electronics, you could totally make them yourself. Now, these new gen ENOVAs, these go from around $7 to $10 each. And if you're just getting started, I highly recommend that you start with these new gen ENOVAs, because I have seen time and time again, people spend like $50 to $100 buying these OG ENOVAs, and then they give up within a month of trying to impact. And so if you're not really sure if you want to get into impacting, I would recommend just start off with a new gen one. Even though the functions are not the exact same, it'll help you get a feel for the light, the size of the light, how to click the light, and it'll be a good little practice session before jumping and investing $50 or $30 into a single light. Now, the ENOVA can get pretty hard to click, and so what a lot of people do is they mod their buttons. And so if you look at the ENOVA case, at the bottom there is usually a rubber piece. And so what I like to do is I'll take off a piece of this rubber, not the entire thing. I'll take off a little piece of it, and I will cut a little square and then crazy glue it onto the case. And I'll only put one little piece, and that way when I put this chip into the case, it makes it way easier to click the button. And this is what most impactors do. There are plenty of different ways to mod your button. You could use like foam earplugs. I've heard of people using like cards, like pieces of paper. There's like a ton of different ways. Me personally, I've found that the sticky tab works the best for me. So you could mod it any way that you want, but this is the way that I like the best. And I do try to keep it to only one tab. Although having 2 tabs or like a whole stack of paper or like a whole foam earplug in your light, it may make it really easy to click. When I've done that in the past, it actually ripped the case off. So this rubber piece right here actually ripped off and I had to glue that part back on, which was a little inconvenient because sometimes this thing would just like fly off, it'd be flapping around. And so I like to just keep it with one, but it's really personal preference. It's up to you. I'm just sharing with you my experience. If you don't have access to the ENOVA, you can also use the SUPERNOVA by LEDGLOVES. This is a great substitute because it has all the exact same functions as the OG ENOVA, including the hold function, and it has really bright bulbs. So it mimics the brightness of the ENOVA. The only difference is that it's a little bit smaller, and so it may be a little harder to click. But if you don't have access to the ENOVAs, hands down, that's the best substitute you could find. There's also the ENOVA made by Amazing Lights, which is discontinued. So that one is actually pretty difficult to find. But if you just want to try it out and you have SPECTRAS, you could actually program your SPECTRAS to have the same function as an ENOVA, and you could practice around with those. I don't recommend it for impacting because of the size and the brightness. It doesn't have that ultra bright bulb that the ENOVAs do or that the SUPERNOVAs do. So it's not gonna have the same intense effect, but it's great to practice with if you do have the SUPERNOVAs. And so that is the breakdown of the ENOVA and how it works. Next, we're gonna go into some impact moves.